Hi everyone, I'm Kamisha and I am an author of the book Forgiveness Truly. I've written just tons and tons and tons of poetry, so I'm always writing. The writing process took me under 2 months, and I've seen persons ask questions like, how do I write a book quickly? How do I write a book in 60 days, in 40 days? When I have a lot of things to do, I have work, responsibilities, and they just want to know how to get it done quickly. So seeing that I wrote a book and I wrote it in such a short space of time, I decided to share some tips on how to get that done. Alright, so the tips I'm going to share with you, it is specifically for a non-fiction book. The book I wrote is non-fiction. I have attempted fiction, and for me, fiction took a longer time. So this is a process for the non-fiction. The first thing that you want to do when you're going to write a non-fiction book is you're going to need to decide what your topic is going to be and what is your motivation for writing the book. So say your topic is ice cream. You're gonna be writing about ice cream, the different types of ice cream. You may want to narrow it down to something specific. So you may want to narrow it down to ice cream for persons who are lactose intolerant. And then it's good if you can imagine or write down some of the things that your audience will want to hear. So if I'm going to read a book that's for persons who are lactose intolerant, persons may want to know what is lactose intolerance. Reason being, it could be a mother that picks up the book and she's a new mother. She just adopted her amazing child. The child is lactose intolerant, and she wants to learn about different ice cream options, different treats that she can give to her child. But at the same time, she wants to know what really is lactose intolerance. What does that even mean? So I definitely wrote down step by step what I believe persons would have wanted to know. I'll show you the table of contents for my book, because the table of contents shows some of the things that I thought about. What is forgiveness? Why should you forgive? What happens when you forgive? What is unforgiveness? And a whole host of things. So that's basically it. Brainstorming. Some persons they'd rather wing it. Winging it I don't believe that would have worked for me. And I'm sharing with you the process for getting it done quickly. I believe that having a foundation on which to stand is really important for writing the book. So it was good for me to have an outline. So I had to really think about how I was going to write the book. I had the topics written down, and I needed to figure out what language I was going to use. So if you're going to be writing a book that is for children, you're going to want to make sure that you use vocabulary that children will understand. For me, I was writing a book about forgiveness, and I wanted to reach persons who needed to forgive the unthinkable. I didn't want to reach necessarily persons who needed to forgive somebody for taking a $500 out of their bank account, or eating the ice cream that they leave in the fridge every single day. No, I wanted to reach persons who wanted to understand how to forgive something that truly hurts. For example, if you've had a mother and you felt that your mother abandoned you when you needed her most, and you could have died and she just abandoned you. Sometimes people go through incredibly difficult things, and I wanted to reach those persons. So I had to decide the language that I was going to use. So being a trained social worker, I wanted to ensure that I didn't use words or examples that would trigger my audience. So I tried to keep it very simple. So I was talking about forgiveness, but I didn't mention brutal things. I tried to keep it very, very, very simple, and I tried to bring in experiences from my youth so that persons reading the book wouldn't have to relive negative experiences while reading the book. So I hope that makes sense. You would need to start to think about your audience and how you're gonna be writing the book, what language you're going to be using, because it would be really, 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 really terrible if you've written down all of your topics about lactose intolerance, for example, and you're writing a book about ice cream options for people who are lactose intolerant, and you haven't thought about your audience, and so you start writing a whole lot of medical terminologies, and every chapter has medical terminologies. That might not be what your audience wants to hear, because they may just be seeking something fun, something light, with a little bit of medical terminologies, a little bit of medical background. So think about your audience. When you have those topics written down, you're going to start writing with that in mind. Who is my audience? And how can I be sensitive to the needs of my audience when I'm writing? The idea of writing down where you want to go, where you want to take your readers, I think that was a major reason for me finishing the book that quickly. Ernest Hemingway once said that there is nothing to write in. All you have to do is sit down in front of a typewriter and bleed. And that is one of the most accurate descriptions of writing that I've heard. You sit down and you bleed because you're pouring so much into the writing. So it's going to take a lot out of you. So what resources do you need when you're writing? It depends on what method you choose. There are so many different options. I'm going to tell you the option that I chose. So I chose to type what I wanted to write, because I'm a really fast typer. So I typed it, and then I went on Fiverr and Upwork to find persons who would be able to help me to put it together. I'll put the link to those resources in the description. So when I typed everything, I went topic by topic. What is forgiveness? I researched different definitions of forgiveness, different perspectives of forgiveness. Why should you forgive? I had an understanding of why forgiveness is necessary, but I went a bit deeper in that. How do you forgive? I realized that some persons, they believed that you should just forgive, that's it, just snap out of it, forgive. But for some people, they need to understand, how do I get this done? What are the steps? So I wrote out, how do you forgive? So everything that I wrote out was compiled, and I was ready to publish the book. So I spent about 2 to 3 hours per day on writing the book. And it took me asking for help with my children. It took me waking up early in the morning at about 3 o'clock and writing until about 5 o'clock. Some mornings I had to do that. In the latter part, I had to wake up early in the morning and write, and then write at night for 2 or 3 hours, but I got it done. So you're going to need to dedicate time towards writing. The best thing you can do is imprint in your brain a specific time that you're going to designate for writing. So your body, your mind knows that at 1 o'clock every day you eat lunch. That's what your body should know. Your body and your mind should know that at 3 a.m. every single day I write for 2 hours. So even if one morning you get up and you're falling asleep, if I'm not saying that you should jeopardize your ability to concentrate throughout the day, but if you can help yourself from falling asleep, then you should definitely try to do it. That way you build some discipline. So designate a specific time of day for you to write. When I designated that time of day, I was able to get it done because I was committed to it and I had support for my children. So the tools that I used, after typing everything, I went on Upwork and I found an editor. So this brings us to the other step in publishing your book. So the other step in publishing your book is identifying what resources you need, what help you need. I decided to self-publish my book, and I decided to do that because I wanted a bit more control over my book. So the tools that I needed, or rather the support I needed an editor. I needed someone who could do book cover design. I needed someone who could do the book design. So I went on Fiverr and I got someone to do the book cover and the book design. I also went on Upwork and I put out a job request, a gig request for someone who would do the editing of the book. I got so many offers, and that is a beautiful thing about these platforms. You get so many offers and so many persons who will let you know what their skill is, what their background is, who will send you samples of their work. So it's really easy to go on Upwork and say, hey, I want to find a developmental editor, I want to find a line editor, and you read through, you assess the persons who send a request, and you choose someone. If it is that you choose not to type your book, but you choose to record it and then have someone transcribe, then there are options on Fiverr and Upwork as well for you to have someone listen to the audio and type your book for you. So there are so many options. When I was finished, when the editor got my book, I want to tell you something. When the editor got my book, she did the line editing and she was under the impression that I got a developmental editor. By the grace of God, I believe I owe that to the fact that I did an outline. So the developmental editor, you can find them online, you can find them on Upwork. They really make sure that the work that you've written, there's a particular sequence, it makes sense, it flows, you're connected with the audience. They work on that. The line editor, of course, goes line by line. The fact that I did an outline, I wrote on the topics that I wanted my audience to know, and I wrote on subtopics from the very beginning. I believe that really contributed to the editor having the impression that I actually got a developmental editor to review the book before she did the line editing. So I got this amazing editor from Upwork. She edited the book, sent it back to me, and I sat on the book for some time before I published it. I finished writing the book and I just didn't know if it was time to release the book as yet. So I waited about 3 months or more after writing the book before I decided to publish it. So I self-published. The platform I chose was Amazon because of the ease of use. And as I said before, I went on Fiverr to find someone who would design the book, design the layout, do the layout of the book. When I got back the layout of the book, I was very happy with it. I was very happy with how the topics looked. I was very happy with the clickable table of contents. I was happy with the file formats, the options that she sent to me. It was just wonderful. It was amazing. And the same person who did the design, she sent me about 4 or 5 different book cover options for me to choose from. So at that point in time, it was pretty easy to go on Amazon and self-publish the book. Amazon makes the process very simple. You sign into Amazon KDP, you upload the PDF version of the book. So that's the copy I would have gotten from the person from Fiverr. She sent me the book in a wonderful design. So I uploaded that PDF version, and I uploaded the cover that she had sent me, because I told her the size of the book that I wanted. If you want a book that is 5 by 8, 5 by 7, you just tell the person who is designing it, who is designing the layout, and they will make sure that it's perfect and the cover is perfect. I went on Amazon KDP, uploaded the text, uploaded the cover, and it was approved within about 24 to 48 hours. It was approved, and there it was. I was a self-published author, and there it was. That's how I became a self-published author. And like I said, it took me about 40 days to write this book, and it was a lot of planning in the first part, so that perhaps would have accounted for why it took that short period of time. So I really hope that this helps, and I hope that you authors to be get ready, get set, and get writing.